The massive space station orbiting Arcturus gleamed like a silver coin against the backdrop of stars. Inside the Grand Council chamber, 30 alien representatives sat around a circular table. Lights from the star outside filtered through the crystal dome overhead, casting colorful shadows across their faces. Senior Counselor Tejo tapped his long blue fingers on the table. His skin shimmered with bioluminescent patterns that showed his growing irritation. "We face extinction," he said, looking at each council member. "The Void Dominion has consumed 3 more systems this cycle. We must act now." Counselor Wook, a tall being with 4 arms and metallic skin, stood up. "My people offer our quantum destroyers, 100 ships, each capable of reducing a moon to dust." Tejo nodded. "Excellent. The Severin Alliance pledges 2,000 warrior ships," announced Counselor Dagon. Her red eyes glowed brightly against her gray skin. "And our best tactical minds." Around the table, representatives of the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy made similar offers. Advanced weapons, powerful shields, soldiers by the millions. Then the chamber doors slid open. A small robot floated in, carrying a message cube. It hovered beside Tejo and projected a holographic document. "What is this?" Tejo asked, squinting at the projection. "An acceptance of invitation," the robot replied. "From Earth." The council chamber went quiet for a moment. Then laughter erupted. "Earth." Tejo's voice rose above the others. "That primitive backwater." Counselor Minjae wiped tears from his 3 eyes. "They only achieved faster than light travel 50 years ago. What could they possibly offer?" The laughter grew louder. Even the usually serious Dayun was smiling. "Their technology is centuries behind ours," said Wook. "And physically, humans are among the weakest species in the galaxy. No natural armor, no claws, poor vision, terrible smell detection." Tejo raised his hand for silence. "We invited all sentient species in the affected sectors. It was a formality. We never expected them to accept." "Perhaps we should hear what they have to offer," suggested Counselor Jimin. Unlike the others, she didn't laugh. Her species valued courtesy above all else. Even the smallest contribution could help against the Void Dominion. "What could they contribute?" asked Dobun with a snort. "Primitive projectile weapons, crude explosives. The Void Lords would not even notice such attacks." Tejo studied the holographic message. "It says they wish to send 1 representative. 1. Not even a fleet or an army. Just 1 human." This sparked another round of laughter. "Maybe they will send their best scientists to marvel at our technology," Wook suggested. "Or a diplomat to beg for our protection," added Minja. Tejo waved the robot away. "We have serious matters to discuss. The Void Dominion will reach Arcturus in 3 months. We need plans, strategies, weapons, not distractions from primitive species." Jimin stood up. Though smaller than most council members, her voice commanded respect. "The founding principle of this council is that all sentient life has value. If we deny Earth a voice simply because they are less advanced, we become no better than the Dominion." An uncomfortable silence fell over the chamber. "Fine," Tejo finally said. 1 representative, but they will observe only. Earth has nothing to offer this war. And when they see the might of our combined forces," Daeun added with a smirk, "perhaps they will learn what real power looks like." The council returned to their plans, the mention of Earth quickly forgotten. Tactical displays lit up the center of the table, showing the advance of the Void Dominion's forces, a creeping darkness consuming star after star. None of them could imagine that in 3 months' time, the fate of the galaxy would rest not on their mighty fleets or advanced weapons, but on the shoulders of a single human who moved like a shadow. The United Planetary Defense Force headquarters sat deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Unlike the gleaming space station of the Galactic Council, Earth's war room was plain and practical. No crystal domes, no fancy lights, just reinforced walls, advanced computers, and determined humans. General Han slammed his fist on the table. This is our chance. We should send our best scientists with plans for the fusion cannon. No, argued Admiral Kyung. We should send diplomats. We need allies, not to show off weapons that are primitive by their standards. Defense Director Sun Woo listened quietly. He was older than the others, with gray hair and a calm face that hid his sharp mind. While the others argued, he studied the holographic display of the Void Dominion's advance. The Council has already decided we have nothing to offer, Sun Woo finally said. The room went quiet. They invited us as a formality. They expect us to send someone who will sit quietly and watch. Then why send anyone at all? Asked Kyung. A small smile appeared on Sun Woo's face. Because they don't know us. They don't know humans. He pressed a button on the table. A hidden door in the wall slid open. A man stepped into the room. Master Jiho, head of Earth's secret ninja program. Some of the military leaders looked confused. General Han frowned. A martial artist. Against spaceships and laser weapons. Master Jiho bowed slightly. He was not tall or muscular. Nothing about him seemed special. But Director Sun Woo and a few others knew better. For 300 years, Sun Woo explained, Earth has maintained and advanced the ancient arts of stealth, deception, and precision combat. When other nations raced to build bigger weapons, we perfected the art of the Shadow Warrior. Master Jiho nodded. We combined ancient ninja traditions with modern technology. Our suits bend light. Our weapons leave no trace. Our training allows us to move without being detected by any known sensor. And the rest of the galaxy knows nothing about this, asked Admiral Kyung. We've kept it secret even from most of our own people, said Sun Woo. The best advantage is the one your enemy doesn't know exists. Master Jiho stepped forward. I recommend we send Hyun. A holographic image appeared. A young man with calm eyes and an ordinary face. Nothing about him looked dangerous or special. This is our best. General Han asked in disbelief. Hyun can enter any room without being seen, said Master Jiho. He can take down targets without making a sound. He remembers everything he sees, and most importantly, no one would ever suspect him of being dangerous. Sun Woo nodded. The Council expects us to send someone impressive, someone trying to prove Earth's worth. They'll be watching for that. They won't be watching for Hyun. What exactly do you expect him to do? Asked Kyung. One man against an enemy that threatens the entire galaxy. First, he will listen and learn, said Sun Woo. The Council knows things about the Void Dominion that we don't. Second, he will show them, at the right moment, that humanity has skills they never imagined. And third, asked General Han. Master Jiho answered, he will open the door for the rest of our ninja court. 20 Shadow Warriors can accomplish what an army of millions cannot. Sun Woo looked around the table. The galaxy thinks we're weak because we're young. They measure advancement by technology and weapons. But humans have always had something special. We adapt, we surprise, we find ways to win against impossible odds. He turned to the hologram of Hyun. Prepare our smallest ship. No weapons, no special technology that they might detect. Nothing that would make them suspicious. And when they laugh at our primitive vessel, asked Han. Sun Woo smiled again. Let them laugh. It will make the lesson more memorable when they finally see what Earth can do. In his simple quarters, he unpacked lightly a few personal items and a small black case containing equipment no alien would recognize. He was going to war against the greatest threat the galaxy had ever known. And he was going alone. Hyun's small Earth ship approached the massive space station orbiting Arcturus. From a distance, the station looked like a giant metal flower with 6 enormous petals extending from a central hub. Ships of all sizes moved around it like busy insects. Inside the station's docking bay, Counselor Jimin waited. As the only council member who had spoken in favor of Earth, she had been given the unwanted task of greeting the human. Such a tiny vessel, remarked a station officer beside her. It barely registers on our scanners. Jimin nodded. Remember your manners. The human represents his entire species. The Earth ship landed without a sound. It was plain and gray, with no visible weapons or special features. The door opened, and a single figure stepped out. Hyun wore simple black clothing. He carried no visible technology except a small communication device on his wrist. He looked ordinary in every way. "Welcome to Arcturus Station," Jimin said, bowing slightly. "I am Counselor Jimin of the Galactic War Council." Hyun returned the bow. "Thank you for your welcome. I am Hyun of Earth." The station officer looked disappointed. He had expected someone impressive. A general in a fancy uniform or a scientist with strange devices. This human looked like he could be a worker or a student. "Follow me," Jimin said. "The council is waiting." As they walked through the station, aliens of all shapes and sizes stared at Hyun. Some pointed. Some laughed behind their hands. Humans were rare in this part of the galaxy, and most aliens had only seen them in data files. "Your species is not well known here," Jimin explained. "You are the first human many of these people have seen." Hyun nodded but said nothing. His eyes moved constantly, taking in everything: the layout of the station, the location of security cameras, the patterns of guard movements. They reached the Grand Council chamber. The doors slid open, and all eyes turned to stare at the human. "Presenting Hyun of Earth," announced Jimin. Silence fell for a moment. Then Counselor Daeun laughed loudly. "This is Earth's champion. He looks so fragile." Counselor Wook studied Hyun through enhanced eyes. No biological modifications, no technological enhancements, not even basic armor. Senior Counselor Taho rose from his seat. "Human, we welcome you to the Galactic War Council. You may observe our proceedings, but understand that this is merely a courtesy. The war against the Void Dominion requires advanced capabilities." Hyun bowed respectfully. "Thank you for allowing me to represent Earth." "Can you at least tell us what Earth offers to this alliance?" asked Counselor Minja. "Do you have special weapons, resources, strategic information about the enemy?" "Earth offers a different approach," Hyun said simply. Daeun laughed again, louder this time. "Different approach. The Void Dominion has destroyed entire star systems. They have ships that can crack planets. What different approach could possibly matter?" Others joined in the laughter. Even those who tried to be polite couldn't hide their smiles. "What will you do, human?" Daeun continued. "Throw rocks at the Void Dominion." The council chamber filled with laughter. Hyun stood quietly, his face calm. "Perhaps," suggested Wook with a smirk, "the human has a secret weapon hidden in his pocket." More laughter echoed through the chamber. Jimin looked embarrassed. Taho raised his hand for silence. "We have serious matters to discuss. The human may observe from the visitors section." Hyun was directed to a small seat at the edge of the room. The council returned to their discussion of fleets, weapons, and battle plans. Massive holographic displays showed the movements of ships and the positions of enemy forces. No one paid attention to the human anymore. No one noticed how carefully he watched everything. No one saw how his eyes noted every detail of the chamber's security systems. No one realized that while they were discussing how to fight the Void Dominion with massive ships and powerful weapons, Hyun was already planning a completely different kind of war. And no one, not even the most observant council member, noticed when Hyun slipped away from his seat without making a sound, becoming just another shadow in the grand chamber. 3 days passed. The council met from morning until night, discussing plans to fight the Void Dominion. Hyun sat quietly in his assigned seat, watching and listening. Most council members forgot he was there. On the 4th day, Counselor Taho stood at the center of the chamber. "We must test the capabilities of all our allies," he announced. "Each representative will demonstrate their greatest strength. This will help us form the best battle plan." The demonstrations began immediately. Counselor Wook showed the plans for his people's quantum destroyers. The holographic display showed ships that could turn asteroids to dust in seconds. Counselor Daeun demonstrated her species' battle armor. She put on a metal suit that made her stronger, faster, and nearly impossible to hurt. Our warriors can fight for days without rest, she boasted. One by one, the representatives showed their weapons, technology, and battle skills. Some brought devices that could shield entire planets. Others showed strategies that had won famous battles. When all the major species had finished, Tahoe turned to Hyun. His voice was mocking. Does the human wish to demonstrate Earth's different approach? The council chamber grew quiet. Everyone turned to look at Hyun, expecting embarrassment or excuses. Hyun stood calmly. Yes, I would like to demonstrate. Surprised whispers filled the room. Tahoe hadn't expected the human to accept the challenge. Very well, Tahoe said. What will you show us? Do you need special equipment? A combat arena? I need nothing, Hyun replied. I will demonstrate a skill that may be useful against the Void Dominion. And what skill is that? Asked Daeun with a smirk. I will retrieve an object of your choosing, Hyun said, without being detected. The council members looked at each other in confusion. Some laughed quietly. That's your great skill, taking things. Wook asked, how does this help fight an enemy that destroys whole planets? Hyun's face remained calm. The Void Dominion's strength comes from its Void Lords. If they could be reached. Tahoe cut him off with a wave of his hand. Fine. We will test your skill. He looked around the chamber, thinking. Then his eyes settled on Counselor Minja. Counselor Minja, you have a crystal from your home world, do you not? The one kept in your private quarters. Minja touched the small blue crystal hanging around his neck. Yes, I have a twin crystal in my quarters. It is very precious to my people. Tahoe smiled. Then that shall be the object. The human will attempt to retrieve Counselor Minja's crystal from his quarters. Minja looked worried. My quarters are secured with the best systems available. And I will add station security as well, Tahoe said. Guards will be posted. All sensors will be at maximum sensitivity. He turned to Hyun. If you set off any alarm or are seen by any guard, you fail. If you succeed, we will listen to Earth's ideas. Hyun bowed slightly. I accept the challenge. Daeun laughed loudly. This will be entertaining. The human thinks he can bypass our most advanced security. Minja looked at Hyun with curiosity. My quarters are on level 12, section 5. The crystal is kept in a locked case beside my sleeping area. The human will be given no maps or assistance, Tahoe declared. The test begins now and ends at tomorrow's council meeting. All security personnel will be notified. The council members left the chamber, talking excitedly about the strange challenge. Most thought it was a joke or a desperate attempt by the human to prove something. None believed he could succeed. As the chamber emptied, Jimin approached Hyun. I don't understand why you would agree to this impossible task, she said quietly. Hyun smiled for the first time since his arrival. Sometimes the best way to show strength is not to boast about it, but to demonstrate it when others least expect it. Jimin studied his face. You believe you can do this. But Hyun was already gone, disappeared without a sound, leaving Jimin alone in the empty council chamber. The next morning, the council chamber filled early. Everyone wanted to see the human admit defeat. Security reports showed no alarms triggered during the night. Guards reported seeing nothing unusual. Counselor Minjae had checked his crystal before coming to the meeting. It was still in its case. Perhaps the human will not even show up, Daeun said with a laugh. He must be hiding in shame. Tahoe called the meeting to order. Before we continue our war plans, let us conclude yesterday's challenge. Where is the human representative? All eyes searched the chamber. Hyun's seat was empty. As expected, Wook said. He could not. I am here, said a quiet voice. Everyone turned. Hyun stood at the center of the chamber. No one had seen him enter. How did you get there? Tahoe demanded. The chamber doors have been opened for all to see. Hyun did not answer. Instead, he placed a small blue crystal on the central table. It glowed softly in the light. Minja gasped and touched the crystal hanging around his neck. That's impossible. He pressed a button on his wrist device. Security, check my quarters immediately. The council chamber grew silent as everyone stared at the crystal. Hyun stood calmly, waiting. A security officer's voice came through Minja's device. Sir, the crystal is gone from its case. The case is still locked. The room's security shows no entry since you left this morning. Whispers filled the chamber. Taiho's face showed disbelief. This proves nothing, Dae-yun said loudly. He could have made a copy, or used some trick. Hyun reached into his pocket and placed more items on the table. A small metal disc from Taho's private office, a data chip from Dae-yun's personal computer, a family photo from Wook's bedroom. Then, one by one, he added small personal items belonging to every council member, things kept in their private, secure quarters. The whispers turned to shocked silence. How? Taiho finally asked. How did you do this? I did as I said I would, Hyun replied. I retrieved objects without being detected. Our security systems are the most advanced in the galaxy, Wook said. No technology can bypass them all. I used no technology that would trigger your sensors, Hyun said. Earth has developed different methods. Minja picked up his crystal, examining it carefully. This is no copy. This is my crystal. Jimin stepped forward. You said you would listen to Earth's ideas if he succeeded. He has done more than that. He has shown us a skill we did not know was possible. Taho frowned. Even if we accept this demonstration, what use is taking small objects when we face the Void Dominion's massive fleets? Hyun looked at each council member. The Void Dominion's strength comes from its 12 Void Lords. They control everything. What if they could be reached? What if they could be removed? The council chamber grew silent again as the meaning of his words sank in. You suggest assassination, Dae-yun said, no longer laughing. That is not honorable warfare. When facing extinction, Hyun replied, is honor more important than survival? Councillor Jimin nodded slowly. The human makes a valid point. Our conventional warfare plans have failed against the Dominion. Perhaps we need a different approach. This is just one human, Wook argued. Even with these skills, what can one person do against 12 Void Lords, each protected by armies? I am not alone, Han said. Earth has others with the same training. We call ourselves ninjas, shadow warriors trained to move unseen and strike with precision. Taho looked troubled. Why would Earth develop such skills? Not for defense against space invaders, not for conventional war. Humans have fought each other for thousands of years, Han explained. We learned long ago that sometimes the smallest blade, properly placed, is more effective than the largest army. The council members looked at each other, their earlier mockery replaced by unease, and the first glimmer of hope. Tell us more about Earth's different approach, Taho said. The council chamber had changed. Where once there had been laughter and mockery, now there was serious attention. All eyes were on Hyun as he stood at the center of the circular table. Show us, Taho said. Show us how Earth fights. Hyun nodded. He touched his wrist device, and a holographic display appeared above the table. It showed humans in black clothing, moving like shadows through buildings, over walls, and across open spaces without being seen, while other species developed bigger weapons and stronger armor. Han explained, humans took a different path. We studied the art of not being seen. We learned to move without sound, to strike without warning, and to leave without trace. The display changed to show special equipment, suits that bent light around the wearer, weapons that made no sound, devices that could disable security systems without triggering alarms. These are our tools, Hyun continued, but the most important weapon is here. He touched his head. And here. He touched his heart. Training, discipline, the ability to remain calm in any situation. Counselor Wook leaned forward, studying the display with his enhanced eyes. These suits, they bend light, but our sensors would still detect body heat, movement, breathing. The suits also mask heat signatures, Hyun replied. And our training allows us to control our breathing and movements to avoid motion sensors. That's why none of our alarms were triggered, Minji realized. He wasn't blocking the sensors. He was moving in ways the sensors weren't designed to detect. A sudden alarm blared through the station. Red lights flashed in the council chamber. Everyone jumped, except Hyun. Emergency alert. A voice announced over the speakers. A Void Dominion scout ship has been detected in the outer system. All council members report to the war room immediately. The chamber erupted in activity. Council members rushed toward the exit, talking loudly. Taeho shouted orders to station security. In the confusion, only Jimin noticed that Hyun had disappeared again. The war room was larger than the council chamber, filled with massive screens showing the movement of ships through the Arcturus system. Officers in uniform rushed between control stations. The council members gathered around the main tactical display. The scout ship appeared at the edge of the system, a senior officer explained. It scanned our defenses, then jumped away before we could intercept it. They're testing our strength, Daeun said grimly, preparing for their main attack. How did they get past the outer sensor grid? Taeho demanded. The officer looked uncomfortable. We don't know, sir. They seem to have some kind of new cloaking technology. Not new, said a quiet voice. Everyone turned. Hyun stood beside the tactical display. Again, no one had seen him enter. They are using bent light technology, Hyun continued. Similar to what I showed you, but adapted for ships. Counselor Junyoung, who had been silent until now, stepped forward. He was older than the other council members, with wrinkled blue skin and wise eyes. How do you know this? He asked Hyun. I was on the observation deck when the alert came, Hyun replied. I saw the scout ship. The distortion pattern is distinctive. Taeho stared at him. You recognized alien technology from a brief glimpse. Earth has encountered similar technology before, Hyun said. From another species, we learned how to detect it and how to counter it. The council members looked at each other. For the first time, they were seeing the human not as a primitive curiosity, but as a potential ally with valuable knowledge. If the Void Dominion has this technology, Wook said slowly, they could slip past our defenses. Their main fleet could be closer than we think. Hyun nodded. They could. But the same technology that makes their ships hard to detect also creates weaknesses. I can show you how to find them. Show us, Taeho ordered. Show us now. For 3 days, the council worked with Hyun. They studied the Void Dominion's movements and tactics. They analyzed the data from the scout ship. They tested new ways to detect the bent light technology. On the 4th day, Taeho called a special meeting in the war room. The large tactical display showed the Void Dominion fleet, a mass of red dots moving slowly but steadily toward Arcturus. We have 2 weeks, Taeho announced. 2 weeks before their main fleet arrives. The council members looked grim. Even with their combined forces, they would be outnumbered. We have gathered every ship we can, Wook said. 20,000 vessels from 30 worlds. But the Dominion has more, much more. And they have 12 Void Lords, added Daeun. Each one controls a section of their fleet. Each one can think and act independently. We cannot surprise them with conventional tactics. Hyun stepped forward. The council members now watched him with respect, not mockery. I have a plan, he said, but it will not be what you expect. It will not be a plan that any military leader would create. Tell us, Taeho said. Hyun touched the tactical display. The image changed to show 12 large ships at the center of the Void Dominion fleet. These are the command ships, Hyun explained. Each one holds a Void Lord. They never fight on the front lines. They stay protected in the center of their fleet. We know this, Daeun said. That's why we can never reach them. You can't reach them with ships, Hyun agreed. But what if you didn't need to? The council members looked confused. I don't understand, Wook said. The Void Lords are connected, Hyun continued. They share thoughts and plans, but they are still separate beings. If one dies, the others feel it. If all died at the same time. Sudden understanding showed on Taho's face. The fleet would have no leadership, no coordination. Hyun nodded. Exactly. But how? Asked Minja. How could we possibly reach all 12 Void Lords at the same time? Not we, Hyun replied. My team. Earth's ninjas. He touched his wrist device. A new image appeared, a small black ship unlike any the council had seen. This is the Shadow, Hyun said. A special ship built by Earth. It uses the same bent light technology as the Void Dominion, but better. It can carry 7 people. 7. Daegun looked shocked. 7 against 12 Void Lords and their entire fleet. 7 is enough, Hyun said calmly. Each trained as I am. Each able to move unseen, even through the most secure areas. And what would these 7 do? Asked Junyoung. While your fleet attacks from the front, creating a distraction, we slip in from behind. We board the command ships. We eliminate the Void Lords, all at the same time. Silence fell over the war room. What Hyun suggested seemed impossible, yet they had seen what he could do. This is madness, Taho finally said. The risk is too great. No, Hyun replied. The risk is necessary. Your fleet attacks will fail if the Void Lords remain in control. You will lose ships. Millions will die. And in the end, you will still lose. The truth of his words hung heavy in the air. I must consult with the other members in private, Taho said. The council withdrew to a secure room, leaving Hyun alone in the war room. For an hour they argued. Some thought the plan was their only hope. Others called it suicide. When they returned, Taho's face was stern. We have decided, he announced. We will follow your plan, but know this, human. If you fail, the last hope of the galaxy fails with you. Hyun bowed slightly. I understand. I will contact Earth immediately. The Shadow and my team will arrive in 3 days. Taho looked at the tactical display again, at the mass of red dots moving toward them. May whatever gods you believe in watch over you, he said quietly. For all our sakes. The Shadow arrived as promised. It was smaller than the council expected, barely larger than a shuttle. Its black surface seemed to swallow light rather than reflect it. Even when looking directly at it, the eye wanted to slide away, as if the ship wasn't quite there. 6 humans emerged from the ship and joined Hyun. 3 men and 3 women, all wearing the same simple black clothing. They looked ordinary. No one would have guessed they were among the deadliest warriors Earth had produced. Hyun introduced them. This is Suk, Kwon, Jinsu, Minji, Yunji, and Juno. Each has trained since childhood in the ninja arts. Taho studied them with doubt still in his eyes. These 7 will attempt what entire fleets could not. Kwon, a tall man with calm eyes, nodded. We will succeed where fleets failed because fleets cannot move as we do. For 2 days, the ninja team studied every detail of the Void Dominion's command ships. They memorized layouts, security patterns, and the location of each Void Lord's chamber. They practiced with mock-ups built by the Council's engineers. On the 3rd day, the Void Dominion fleet entered the outer reaches of the Arcturus system. The Council's fleet moved to intercept them. In the war room, tension filled the air. Council members watched the tactical displays as thousands of ships moved into battle formation. It's time, Hyun said. His team stood ready, dressed now in their full gear, black suits that seemed to absorb light, with specialized equipment attached to their belts. Taho approached them. The fate of the galaxy rests with you 7 now. Our fleet will engage the enemy in 1 hour. That will be your window to slip past their defenses. Hyun bowed respectfully. We understand. When you see the Dominion fleet lose cohesion, you will know we have succeeded. As the Earth team turned to leave, Counselor Jimin stepped forward. I never thought I would say this, but thank you for coming, humans. Thank you for showing us a different way. The 7 ninjas boarded their small black ship. Within moments, the shadow disappeared from view, its bent light technology making it invisible to both eyes and sensors. The war began with a massive exchange of fire. The Council fleet, though smaller, fought with desperate courage. Particle beams and energy torpedoes flashed between the opposing armadas. Ships exploded into silent fireballs against the blackness of space. In the war room, Council members watched grimly as their fleet took heavy losses. The Void Dominion moved with perfect coordination, each section responding instantly to the other's needs. They're cutting through our left flank, Wook reported. We've lost 200 ships already. Where are the humans? Daeun demanded. Have they failed? Taho shook his head. We don't know. Their ship is undetectable, even to our sensors. Hours passed. The Council fleet retreated, regrouped, and attacked again, but they were being pushed back steadily. Hope began to fade. We should prepare evacuation plans for the station, Minja suggested quietly. Then something strange happened. On the tactical display, a section of the Dominion fleet suddenly stopped moving in formation. Ships drifted aimlessly or fired in random directions. What's happening? Taho asked sharply. Unknown, sir, a sensor officer replied. But the coordination in Sector 3 has completely broken down. Before anyone could react, another section of the Dominion fleet fell into disarray. Then another, and another. It's working, Jimin whispered. The humans are succeeding. Across the Dominion fleet, chaos spread like a wave. Without the Void Lord's guidance, ship captains made individual decisions, often conflicting with each other. Some vessels collided. Others retreated without orders. All fleet commanders, Taho shouted into the communication system. Press the attack. The enemy is vulnerable. The Council fleet, sensing the change, surged forward. Ships that had been outmatched moments before now found themselves facing a disorganized enemy. In the war room, a message appeared on Taho's private screen. Mission accomplished. 5 returning. 2 lost. 3 days after the battle, the Council gathered in the Grand Chamber once more. The mood was different now, solemn yet hopeful. Reports from across the system showed the Void Dominion fleet in full retreat. Without their Void Lords, the enemy had lost the will to fight. The chamber doors opened. Hyun entered, followed by 4 of his team. They moved slowly, showing signs of their difficult mission. Jinsu wore a bandage on his arm. Suk walked with a slight limp. Kwan's face had a new scar across his cheek. Minji's eyes held a sadness that hadn't been there before. 2 were missing. Yeonji and Juno had not returned. The entire council stood as the humans entered. No one laughed now. No one mocked. Instead, they bowed their heads in respect. Taho stepped forward. The galaxy owes you a debt that can never be repaid. You did what our combined fleets could not do. You struck at the heart of the enemy and gave us victory. Hyun nodded slightly. We did what we were trained to do, but the cost was high. 2 of our best did not return. How? Counselor Junyang asked softly. How did you reach all 12 Void Lords? Even with 7 of you, the odds. We did not need to reach all 12, Hyun explained. The Void Lords are connected mentally. When 4 died at exactly the same time, the shock disrupted the others. While they were vulnerable, we eliminated the rest. The council members listened in silent awe. We recovered something important, Hyun continued. He placed a small device on the central table. This contains the location of every Void Dominion outpost and supply base. With this, you can end their threat forever. Taho picked up the device carefully. This is invaluable. It will save countless lives. What of your fallen comrades? Jimin asked. How will you honor them? Kwan stepped forward. In our tradition, We honor the fallen by completing their mission. Yunji and Junho gave their lives so others might live. There is no greater honor. The Council wishes to recognize Earth formally, Tahoe announced. We have created a permanent seat for your world. No longer will Earth be seen as a primitive backwater. You will be acknowledged as equals, perhaps even as teachers. Hyun looked surprised for the first time since his arrival. Earth did not join this fight for recognition or power. Perhaps not, Tahoe replied. But wisdom comes in recognizing value where others see none. I once laughed at the idea that Earth could contribute anything to our alliance. I was wrong. We were all wrong. Minyu stepped forward. The crystal you took from my quarters in your demonstration. I wish you to have it. My people give these only to those we consider family. One by one, council members came forward with gifts and words of respect. The humans accepted graciously, though such recognition was not their way. When the ceremony ended, Jimin approached Hyun privately. Will you accept the council seat? Will you represent Earth among the stars? Hyun thought for a moment. I will, but not alone. Earth has many voices, many skills. We have scientists, diplomats, and artists who should also be heard. And more ninjas, Jimin asked with a small smile. Always more ninjas, Hyun replied. Moving in shadows, watching and protecting. That is our way. As the council members dispersed to begin the long work of rebuilding, Hyun stood by the large window overlooking the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, a planet once thought too primitive to matter in galactic affairs. No one was laughing now. In the years that followed, other species would learn from Earth's example. They would discover that true strength comes in many forms. Sometimes it arrives in massive warships and powerful weapons, and sometimes it slips in unnoticed, silent as a shadow, changing everything before anyone realizes it's there. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again. The end.